Good afternoon, everybody. This is Father Walsh. I talk a little bit about the readings on Sunday, which is really the February 6th. The overall theme for Sunday is the call, and as it's found in Scripture. And a couple of good, what would you call it, good indications or good examples of the call. First of all, in the first reading last Sunday, the call of Jeremiah, which was Jeremiah was around 650 years before the time of Christ, and he heard the call of God, and his response was, "Whoa!" He says, "I am too young." He says, "I'm too young to, and I don't really know how to speak." But the Lord didn't take that for an answer. Basically, he said to him, he said, "I need you to go, and just in going, know that you're never alone. I'll be with you all the time. You're going to experience struggle and difficulty, but do not be afraid, because I am there." Then almost 90 years before that, you have the call. For Sunday's reading, you have the call of Isaiah, and also called to be a prophet. And Isaiah experienced this call. Not sort of out in the open, but while he was in the temple. He's praying in the temple, and he has a vision while he's there. And in the vision, he hears the voice calling him to be a prophet. And his response to that, before he hears the call, he's sort of overwhelmed by the presence of God. As he prays, God becomes very, very real to him, and he's just sort of feels sort of powerless in his presence. And the voice says to him, "I want you to be my prophet again." And the response of Isaiah is, "Oh, leave me alone. I'm a very, very sinful man." So he had hoped by referring to his sinfulness that God would leave him alone. But in reality, what God did was he sent an ember on the tongues. Obviously, there was a lot of smoke, a lot of incense, I presume, in the temple, and so he sent an ember, and the ember touched his lips, and he said to him, "He touched my mouth with it and said, 'See, now that this has touched your lips, your wickedness is removed, and your sin is purged.' Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying to me, 'Whom shall I send? Who will go for us?' And he answered, 'Here I am, send me.'" So there you have the response of Jeremiah, that he was ready. He was ready to fulfill the Lord's wishes in his life. And then we skipped all the way to Sunday's gospel, where Jesus is still very early on in his ministry. This is in the Gospel of St. Luke, and he's preaching to a large crowd, and we're told that he gets into a boat off the shore, and he sort of preaches from there. And then after a while, when he's tired from preaching, he says to Simon Peter, he says to him, "Let's move out, and let's go fishing." And Peter's response is, "Lord," he says, we've been at it all night long, and have caught nothing." And basically, in that Sea of Galilee, I mean, most of the fishing was done at night. So if you didn't catch anything during the night, there was certainly a real possibility that more than a real possibility that you weren't going to do it during the day either. But the response of Peter was very much the same as the response of Mary when she was told that the angel Gabriel told her to be the mother of God. Her response is, "I don't know what you're looking for, but I'll do whatever you asked." And it's basically the same thing with Peter. He says, he says, "We've caught nothing." He says, "But if you say so, we'll lower the nets." And we know that's what they did, and we know what happened in the process. Jesus, being a prophet, as we established last week, Jesus, being a prophet, knew that this was an opportunity to catch plenty of fish. So they filled the boats with so much so that the nets were near breaking. And Peter's response to that is very much like the response of Isaiah in the first reading. He says, he was so overcome by the whole thing. He says, leave me, Lord, for I am a sinful man. And the response of Jesus to that is, he says, depart from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man. And the response is, for astonishment at the catch of fish they had made seized him and all those who were with him, and likewise James and John, the sons of Zebedee, who were partners of Simon. Jesus said to Simon, do not be afraid. From now on you will be fishers of men. And with that, they left their boats and their nets and became his followers. So there you have three wonderful examples of the call of God in the life of individuals. And God continues to call people to a variety of different ministries and a variety of different works. And the question is, do you hear the call, and how are you going to respond to it? And of course, you can also say, I'm not ready to do it, but that doesn't mean it's going to leave you alone. But the bottom line is, for any of us, God can call us at a particular time in order to fulfill his purposes. So the question, I suppose, for you today is, when have you heard the Lord calling on you, and how have you responded to his invitation? Thank you, and have a good day.